Hello, and my name is Waleed Malik, and I'm here to present my presentation on urban design for Project 2. And here are some of the table of contents which I will uh, briefly describe in the upcoming slides. So here is a brief about myself. So my name is Waleed Malik, and I earned my bachelor's degree back from Pakistan, from Lahore, from University of South Asia, and in architecture and design. So after being graduated from my university, I worked in an architecture firm, in a private architecture firm, and to that helps me to advance my technical skills uh, will I that I will complete in my various residential and commercial projects. So I am very actively involved in all aspects of architectural design projects, and so here is a brief description about the professor, our professor, Dr. Sami Eldis, and he was a graduate from METU University, and he worked for in many of the projects for from designing houses, from apartments, from shopping malls, from offices, banks, and educational buildings. And he also wrote some of the very detailed and very famous articles. Um, and he also wrote 12 books, and out of 65 articles, 17 articles are international based, and they are being recognized all over the world. So here is a brief description about my school. So Okan University is located in Istanbul, the only city that spans between the two continents, between Europe and Asian Istanbul. And Okan University offers 52 undergraduate programs and 27 graduate programs, with 5 PhD programs and under 5 faculties, 2 graduate institutes, schools of applied sciences and health sciences. So here is an aerial view of Okan University. So here is a brief description about my social background back in Pakistan, because the purpose of explaining this social background is I'm going to use this detail when I'm going to describe my design project afterwards in the upcoming slides. So I'll brief about about the social background back in Pakistan. The In Pakistan, women are usually the women who work in the farmer industry or in the farming industry or in back in rural areas. They mostly have occupation, and they mostly gain their economy by doing by working in the cotton industry, by working in farms, and by working in the crops, and they mostly gain their experience and mostly gain their economy by working in the fields and by picking up the cottons. So here is a brief about the article of which on which we have worked upon, and that article is about the eco cities. So in that eco city we have basically differentiate, and in that article we basically we did the comparison between the different countries and different eco cities. So the information that we took from the article is very unique, and eco-cities share the basic characteristics analogous to healthy ecosystems and living organisms. So an ecocity is a human settlement model on the self-sustaining resilient structure and function of natural ecosystem. So basically an ecosystem is a broader term in which we use our resources, renewable resources, and recycle them that can be used by one another, or we can use that material or recycle stuff back again. So in that article we have chosen some methodology of different cities, from Shanghai, from Abu Dhabi, from Arizona, USA, from China, and from Russia. And for cities that we to continue the prosper and flourish, city manager need to improve their outstanding and practice of sustainable urban planning, development, and management. So the article concluded by arguing for the need to consider social sustainability as a key part, as a main part of traditional ecosystem projects, and make the case for proposing alternatives to current plans and proposals for ecocity projects. Here are some of the brief about the matrices of how we have comparison between their advantages and disadvantages of different cities, of which we have analyzed throughout this in project 2 in urban design. So the matrix has concluded about the brief of these cities, and for example, the strength of the Vatican City is that it is the only cooperative assisted largest public housing area. As a result of this project, massive housing laws and mass housing administration were involved by designing these houses. So the opportunity for McAllister City has to reach a carbon neutral development, lakefront, a flagship project for a sustainable, hybrid, and self-sufficient city, a natural center for wood refining. So here are some of the conceptual design projects on which I have worked on. So here is the site analysis sheet, and in this site analysis sheet I have proposed an urban design area, and the site which I have chosen is back in my country in Pakistan, and in the province of Punjab in Lahore. And this site is approximately 36.7 hectares of a total area, and the location of this site is at Burki village adjacent to BRB Canal, Lahore. And if you can see my cursor here, so this is the BRB canal that is running from all across the Lahore, and from one end to another. So this is a very major part in Lahore while designing, or while transporting, while having a transportation. So this is plays a very vital role while designing an urban place. So I chose this site because this site is very close to the urban on BRB canal, and there are some of the utilities of the site. The clean drinking water is not available on that particular site, and grass is available on some of the pockets of the site, and electricity is available on the site. So here you can see the noise pollution is from the three sides, from the BRB side, from this side, because here you can see some of the settlements which are being used, and which are being used for the accommodation for the villagers. And this is the road of which I have shown in the road network here. So the noise pollution can also be caused by this road as well. So here's the sand path, and here is the site neighborhood contacts, and here is some brief about the climate changes from month to month in different period of time. And here are some of the live images of that particular site, and here you can see some patchy grass area on the particular site. So now I'm going to brief about my project. So this project depicts towards the bitter story of the life I'm the living. The quality standard of living is below the line for an average person. So there are no basic amenities on that particular site on which I'm designing this whole urban area. So the dwelling of the community depicts towards the personal hygiene and grooming of the self-being to upgrade the standards of the living community. So this urban village is being designed to upgrade the standards of the living for the whole community. So for that we need to have a proper planning in terms of basic facilities. We not only need to provide the proper planning, but we also need to give them a basic facilities as well. So one thing that we need to understand is even that in a town or in a city or in a village, it is a complete without basic facilities. So here are some of the sections that I have designed, and these sections are giving us a depiction of how to cater the buildings and the streets as well. So basically here I'm giving something about a cavity wall. A cavity wall is a type of a hollow center between the two walls, and these can also work as an insulation between the two walls. So the weep walls so this cavity wall also allows the wind to create an air stream through the cavity that exports evaporation water from the cavity to the outside. So this also works as an evaporator as well, you can say. And what are the advantages of it? And it resists wind driven rain, insulation provided by slow moving air films and air gaps. So here are some of the plans that I have designed in that particular area. So here you can see this is a ground floor, and this one is the first floor, and this house is being designed for 5 people, and while this house is being designed for the 12 for the accommodation for 12 people. And so what is the main eco technique and the eco feature that has been accommodated over here? So the eco feature that has been being done or being implemented over here is that the new construction techniques have been introduced in the project, which is very effective to the Lahore climate by using the cavity wall. The cavity wall is constructed system in houses which will help to maintain the U value of the house using the courtyard system. So here is the courtyard that I have been implemented on, and these are the basically these are the phases of by which I have been gone through and being come up with this goal or with this design. So this one is the courtyard which will bring the natural light as well as the natural ventilation in the home, and this proper spacing is also being given in both of these houses, so that and here you can see the backyard of the house helps you to generate the organic food for the house, so it will be used as a garden as well. So these are the farmers basically. So these farmers can also be accommodated here, and can also be use their way of can generate the economy as well by organic food which they can implant at the backside of their houses. So here is some of the brief about the section and how I have worked on the slabs, and how I have made a portion of different materials. By using different materials, I get to know of how to cater with the climate, because climate is also a very plays a very major and vital role in designing. So 0.05 meter of sand or cement secrete on 0.15 meter and 0.60 meter wide precast concrete floor unit supported on the steel beam and inner leaf of cavity walls. So here are the some of the isometric cross section of eco houses. So these are the type of houses that being designed at that particular site, which have solar PV inverters as well, which will help us to generate electricity in it. So these 3000 watt of PV panels will be installed at the on the roof, so that the electricity can be produced, and as well as their super efficient shower heads, and a way of how rainwater can be gained and can be recycled as well. So here is a proper system of how the whole system can be worked, and of how that particular unit have all these ecosystem and eco system features in it. So here is an example of how I will design a whole urban area. So here is a part of its one parameter of like here you can see the design of houses. So here is the dimension of the house is a bit large. Why? Because this house is for the 12 people, and here are the houses for the 5 people. So I have designed this whole parameter to show you that these houses are very close by to each other. Why? Because the community and the people, those who live in the villages and in the rural areas, they love to live close to each other, and they are very close to each other, and they wanted a whole community so that they might collaborate, or they might get in help with each other when anyone needs help. So here is some of the brief and some of the design analysis of how I came up with this idea. Here are some of the examples of how I have designed this eco parameter, and here you can see a green area is being elaborated at the center of this area, and here you can see a full master plan of that particular site. And in this particular site, in this particular parameter, I have designed some green areas as well, some houses for the 8 people, and the houses for 8 people are 208 houses that covers an area of 70 canals, which will be an 18% of this whole master plan of this whole site, and 12% houses are of 115 houses, which covers the 53 canals of total area, and 13% of this whole site. So a school is being designed at the center of this site, as you can see over here. I have not planned it now. So this school and also have an total area of 4.86 canals, which covers an total site of 1.21 percentage. And here is the civic center. So civic center is mainly an area or a place where you can design an apartment or some hotels or high-rise buildings, so that these can also be used as a commercial purposes as well. So, and a graveyard is also being designed at the end of the at the end of this site. 6.82 canal is the total area of this graveyard, which covers a 1.70% of this whole site. So here is the 3D of that particular parameter that I have shown in some previous slides. So here are some of the eco-sustainable features of these condominium parameters. So here are I have designed this whole 3D part to know uh, about these, that these all have some eco features in it. So there are some of the renewable energy photovoltaic power generation as well. So there are external insulation system being designed for these apartment buildings as well. So these buildings are smart buildings which uses automated processes that will control the heating, ventilation, air conditioning and other systems inside the building. And the most important part is that it also have a hybrid ventilation system which helps this whole building and this whole compound to get ventilated, especially when it's summer, because summer is in Lahore in Pakistan or at around 7 to 8 months a year. And an environmental control type double glazed sliding windows are being also installed in these compounds, and artificial ground plantation being designed, pavements for the mitigation of heat islands. So pavements have a very vital role while designing roads, especially. So why? Because pavements, they also insulate and they also minimize the heat absorption as well. And number second, they helps the rainwater to seep to the ground level, to the ground water reserves as well. So the other important factor here is that it also have the street lights are very sustainable as well. They also use that voltaic street light provide also reduce the reliance on fossil fuels as well, because they also have voltaic power generation in it. So here are some of the images of 3D images of that particular area. So thank you for listening to me, and hope you have enjoyed my presentation. Thanks a lot.